Yeah, lead it off.
All right, guys. So we are ready for Fight Night 174 coming up this Saturday on July 25th. We saw
Fight Island, baby. This is the third one, so it's been exciting.
I mean, I liked the last Fight Island, but it was a little underwhelming with Ben Benitez really getting pummeled really fast.
Benavidez had a rough night, man. I thought he was going to come out there swinging. I thought he was going to actually win that title.
Ooh.
Guerrero, I forget how to really exactly pronounce his name, but he has tremendous power. He really went out there and performed extremely well. He missed weight the last time that they fought, and he could have won the title on that first one. But he really proved that flyweight division, he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
To really,
I can't
he's
lie. It looks scary. He knocked him down like 3 times in the first round.
it was ugly, man. He
Like,
he put it on him. Hermanson, another one that I really liked him.
yeah,
I bet on him, not heavy or anything, but I bet on him. I didn't think that was gonna go that quick. I mean,
he ended with like a
leg hook,
footlock, right?
a
Hit like
leg
a
hook,
footlock.
yeah, with the leg hook.
Yeah.
And it was definitely not the way I expected it to go, because I'm telling you, Hermanson's got great stand up game. Gaslam is amazing on the feet. I was ready for another war from him, and it didn't really turn out that way. But that's all right. I mean, it was good. Yeah, I'm glad Hermanson got that win. Like he's definitely 1 or 2 fights away from it. And listen, he absolutely is very capable of winning that title. So yeah, I'm excited, man. And now that we're at Fight Island 3 with Fight Night coming up, I'm excited for this one, man.
Yeah, so this is the last Fight Island that they're gonna have, at least for this period of time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So they've had 3. It's been a tremendous success, I think, from the fighter standpoint. They seem like they were treated well. We had 3 really good cards, three really good cards that honestly I think gave us some much necessary sports and consistent sports in a time where things are a little bit difficult to do. So
Yeah,
much props to them. Much props to them. They kept everybody. Nobody came out positive. Everybody was in quarantine before they went out. They had a press so spot on and so down that I mean, you gotta admire it. You gotta give Dana major props on that.
and do you think that Dana White might be setting the standard for what some other sports leagues might end up doing?
100%, 100%. I mean, he's led the way all the way through. I may not agree with Dana's political views on certain things. Who cares? We're talking sports, and the man's a genius sports mind. You could dislike whatever. The man's brilliant, and you got to give him his props. He knows what he's doing, and even to put on sports, you give this guy a challenge, and I feel like every time he proves himself to be, a worthy leader. He's a great guy, knows what he's doing with the company. So from that standpoint, I think they're going to set the standard for everybody else, and then everybody else is going to follow suit. If you ask me, now with sports coming online, baseball is going to be hard, but basketball is doing a really good job with that bubble. I think they have the same idea. It's Abu Dhabi, the island, the fight island kind of concept. Quarantine the guys, test them, make sure anybody who's coming into that bubble doesn't affect anybody else. They had employees in Fight Island, taking care of the fighters. Everybody was good. As long as you're doing that, I think we could really. That shows you also for the country, man. I mean, if you can get things under control, look at how things can turn out to be. You can get it under control. These environments are keeping the virus out. Follow that concept for the country.
Yep. I
And
agree
yes,
with
it's
you.
hard. Yeah, it's
I
hard to
definitely
really
agree with you.
to really control everybody. Nobody's,
Yep.
whatever, man. Just wear a mask, do what you got to do, and take care of that. But getting back to it, I'm excited, man. I'm going to give you guys some good predictions that I think about what's going to happen on this card. Anytime we're really going with the predictions, I'm going to give you the Vegas Snake Eyes. That's going to be that's me whenever I'm laying down some bets, whenever I'm giving you guys some predictions. That personality of me comes out. So living in Vegas, obviously everybody knows that Snake Eyes on the craps table gives you the highest turnout bet. So
And we've seen your stats over the years. I mean, you've pulled out more wins than you've lost. So I mean, the numbers
yeah,
speak for themselves.
I appreciate that. I mean, the numbers
Yeah,
in regards to the picks are generally a little bit obviously better than some of the losses. So yeah, I mean, I'm very confident in my picks. I like the card that's upcoming. So if we just right off the bat get to it, for this one, I'll tell you that the only card I really don't know too much about is this first card here, this first fight here. A lot of you've seen these unbeaten guys. It's their first fight in the UFC, so they show up and they lose fights. I mean, all the time. We just saw that on this last card. I mean, record-wise, we got McKee, and then we got Timov. Timov. I can't really pronounce some of these guys' names.
yeah.
So a lot of these guys, again, are don't have necessarily.
Skeletor. This guy's named Skeletor.
I'm not going to give you a bold prediction on this one, but I'm going to stick with going with the unbeaten guy. You always fight with a little bit more pickup on your step when you got an unbeaten record, right? You want to keep that unbeaten based off of the stats too. Skeletor over McKee is who I have for that one. Following it up and picking it up right there where we left off. Alex Oliveira is a beast, man. I think he's gotten a couple of bad reps and a couple of bad fights. He gets a little wild out there. His record's not the prettiest at 20-8. And in MMA, 20-8 is stellar, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Sabata's at 17-6, so he's not that far off. I mean, he's on a path where he can have a better record if he pulls out the win. I mean, they look like their measurables are close. What do you think is the biggest difference between the two of them?
Well, Oliveira's reach, I know that is showing it obviously with us putting up the stats, but he's tall, man. He fights tall. So a lot of his fights,
he's a lot taller than him. The reach is a little bit lacking, but he does have about 4 inches on him roughly.
He does, yeah. It looks like that. So Sabata looks like he's I haven't seen too many of his fights either. But I've seen a lot of Oliveira's fights. I like him. I like the way his stand-up is. He's good on the ground. He's really caught he's been caught on a couple times and had some major losses. But I'm gonna pick Oliveira. I'm gonna stick with Oliveira. I think his experience pays off here. I think his reach is gonna make the difference in the way that he fights. As long as he doesn't get wild, I say lay it on Oliveira.
Now, in the next fight, we have Paul Craig, who's at 12-4-1, versus
Gadzimurad.
Who?
Gadzimurad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce my man's name. We're going to call him J.A. So Paul Craig is fighting against J.A., who's 2-6. J.A. does have a disadvantage in height. He's about 5 inches shorter, but they're about the same weight. And J.A. has a huge.
I'm gonna go with Paul Craig on this one. I've seen him fight. I honestly, I'll tell you that yes, the reach is a big advantage. Obviously, height is an advantage. So I like Paul Craig really being dominant in this fight.
Yeah.
Listen, I again, I'm not 100% on everything, but that's why I like on these two picks.
Sure.
And then really, the next ones are going to be even more interesting. So moving right along to Carla Esperanza. I like Carly, man. She's tough as they come, and she's pulled out some rough fights. Marina, unbeaten. Obviously, she's got 2 draws on there. But I like Carly, man. She's tough. She grinds out those wins. She's in your face. She doesn't stop moving forward, even if she takes a lot of hard punches to the face.
Here's the thing: over the last couple of fights, you've tend to take the trend with the larger fighter, where you have more height here on Marina, you have more reach on Marina. They're roughly about the same age and the same weight, and Marina is undefeated. You have Carly coming out here and dominating on Marina.
She's on a roll. She's on a roll.
At the stats, it looks like Marina might have an advantage.
Right, and she does. She does. I mean, from that standpoint, she does. But the reality is that Carly, she's on a roll. She's had some good fights. She's in your face in every fight. She doesn't back down. I'm not saying that Marina does. Clearly, her record dictates that she doesn't. But Carly has had some really tough fights that I've seen that she grinds out. So I really like. If I'm laying money on the line on here, I'm gonna go with Carly.
Awesome. And then in the next fight, we have Fabricio Werdum
Man.
versus Alexander Gustafsson, who I fight. So
Gustafsson.
Gustafsson, I know he's
So
had some good shots earlier, right?
listen, I'm gonna tell you that this is so past beyond the prime of Fabricio Werdum.
Uh,
Listen, he's been put on his butt a few times already. He's lost some fights that I don't even know that if he loses this fight, I'd probably say that this will be his last.
sure.
To be honest with you, Gustafsson's gonna get him out of there in a hurry, man. Gustafsson's a monster. I thought he was gonna retire. He threw his gloves on the mat after the John Jones fight. I think he needed to get his mind right. You know, he really wanted to win that title. He's been a soldier of the game for a long time. And you know, I think that a lot of these guys when they're fighting for that title and you're consistently chasing the guy, the GOAT. Like John Jones, and you can't beat him, and you had it twice. You don't think that you're going to get that shot again. I think that now that John Jones is in question on the title, I think Gustafsson probably got a little bit more pep in his step to say, hey, I'm the next best guy from Jones. Other than Jones, nobody else can beat me. So I like Gustafsson coming back and deciding to take this fight. This is going to be an easy one. If you ask me, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Fabricio is a former UFC champ for a reason. But this is also the same guy that lost on a backstep punch from Stipe, so I mean, and again, Stipe is the best heavyweight champ in the division. So that's I mean, and Alexander's moving up, I'm guessing, because if he was fighting on a light heavyweight, then I mean he's 205, he's moving up to fight. That's I think the big difference. I think the weight is the big difference here. I still like Gustafsson though. I still like
Gustafsson is going to put on more weight. Is he going to stay? Is he going to fight?
It's 205. He's probably going to fight at that limit of 205. I think he's. He doesn't need to.
We have Fabricio at 231. Do you think that weight could?
That's going to affect Fabricio. That's going to affect Fabricio. Fabricio is going to be heavier. He's going to come in heavier as usual. I mean, he's always been at that around that weight.
Gustafsson is the taller fighter with a little bit bigger reach. And he's coming in a little bit underweight.
Let me tell you something, man. Go watch Gustafsson Jones, and you're in for a treat anytime you watch one of those classic bouts. And I'm talking about one, not two, but still, that dude's a monster. I lay my money every time on that fight. I'll go Gustafsson, heavyweight, light heavyweight, doesn't matter. Give me Gustafsson on that one.
And then in the next one, we have the light heavyweight, the co-main event, Mauricio Rua versus Antonio Rogerio N. I'm not Nogaria. I'm not pronouncing that.
Let's go with
yeah. But right now, I mean, we're looking at a huge age gap here. It's about 6 years between the two guys. But other than that, they look pretty similar as far as height and weight is concerned. What are you thinking over here?
I mean, this is I believe this is the third fight between the two guys.
It's a trilogy
yeah, and it's way past I think the prime here too. I think they're just trying to really get that rubber match in. Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to the standpoint of this one, I'm gonna go with Rua.
Sure.
I like Rua for this one. I'm gonna take him. I've seen a lot of Rua in the past. Again, the man's been in the game for a while, so I think he's just gonna pull this one off to end it. And then if we could just move right along to that final one here, just to kind of bring it into a close. I'm really excited about this one. This one's going to be, to me, one of the most exciting fights on the that we've had on in a while.
Really?
Yeah. And the fact that this is what I love about UFC, that it's free. It's fight night, guys. I mean, if you have ESPN Plus, tune in, right? This is going to be a real.
Do you think this fight is going to be better than Aldo versus Jan?
20 million%.
Oh, Aldo versus Jan was a good fight. They went toe on that card. I think that was the best card of that fight island. It was better than the main event. It was better than the co-main. Max Holloway's event was shallow, if you ask me. Max Holloway,
I could talk to you for an hour about Max winning that fight and these judges getting things wrong. And I'm gonna tell you right now that there's two fights already between these guys.
An exciting fight. Even if he might have won, that was not better than Aldo versus Jan.
I don't know. You must have had different. You must have had eyes on something else when you was watching that Max fight. That was a good one. The main event wasn't boring either. You know why? Because Kamara
stopped out for fucking for Usman. Usman
Usman's just dominant, man. And watching a dominant
it was boring. It wasn't like there wasn't like the first 3 rounds of Aldo versus Jan. You were like, who's gonna win this? Who's coming out? It was competitive.
Listen, Jan pulled that out
in the last 2 rounds. He just
Yes,
dominated.
Jan
The
is
first
a
3 rounds
dominant.
of that was amazing. That was the best fight to me.
I mean, that's in your opinion. In my opinion, I think that this is the only reason why I would agree, only because of the way that the Max fight went.
Right. If Max
I don't know why I'm drawing. Well, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Give me who won that fight? The champ right now. That's how much I remember that guy from beating Max in 2 real ridiculous decisions. Even though he did win the first one, the second one, no way, not a chance. But anyways, moving on to this. I mean, Robert Whittaker, former champ here. Izzy beat him. You know, Izzy's been on a tear. So realistically, Darren Till moving up to middleweight. This is the weight that I think he's always should have been in from the beginning. Trying to fight welterweight, he was always having issues with the weight cut. But to move up and to fight, he just beat Kevin Gastelum in a like dicey decision. But I think he did win that fight. Darren Till did. Robert Whittaker's coming off a loss. He's motivated now. I think he was a champ for a little. He was through 2 big wars with Yoel. So, I mean, honestly, this is gonna be a tough one, man. This is gonna be a tough. I could see this one going either way.
This is one of those fights that you sit down, you pull out the popcorn, and you just
all
enjoy
day.
them.
This is gonna be a war because I mean, now I'll tell you that Robert Whittaker probably doesn't want to end up being in another war. He's been in too many, if you ask me. And he got sat down by Izzy in his last fight, so he's probably gonna try to shy away from having one of those. If he does, man, Till's left hook. I mean, he's got so much power. So I will probably say, and Till's lost by knockout too, if we all remember. I mean, we had Masvidal beat him. So
Masvidal, he was an ascending fighter, so it's not like he lost just some
right.
guy.
He was absolutely. So I'm gonna go. For me, I think Till moving up to his proper weight, he's going to pull this one off. So my bet's going to be on Till on this one.
Okay.
Maybe a bold prediction. I don't know if he's the underdog in this one. He most likely might be because he's moving up and he's facing the former champ. It's going to move him right in line to getting a title shot if he gets this win. So that's kind of how my lineup is going to roll. I'm going to go with Till.
Awesome. Now, as we get past Fight Island, we know that UFC is always promoting the next great fighter and the next fighter that they're always looking for. After this fight, who or after this card, who's the fighter that you're most looking forward to seeing in an upcoming event?
A couple, right? Because we just talked about it. I mean, Carly is on a tear. If she wins this fight, she's right there. She's right there with the strawweights. Gustafsson coming up to heavyweight. I don't know what his motivation on there is. Is he trying to stay at heavyweight? I haven't really looked into too much of that, but I'd like to see him get a nice quick get Fabricio out of there real quick because it's going to show, hey, Gustafsson's back. Maybe we put him in line with whoever's next. He probably needs one or two wins. I mean, I probably would not like to see Gustafsson in there with Ngannou. That'd be crazy. So I don't know. I like to see what comes after that with Gustafsson. I think he's going to get that one. That's an easy one for me. Don't like these guys. Those guys are old guys. And then you got Till Whittaker. I mean, if Whittaker wins, why wouldn't you give him a rematch? I mean, you got to give him a rematch. Rematch versus Izzy. Adesanya's the champ. He beat Robert Whittaker. He sat him down. It was a real quick fight. So I think that Whittaker had a lot of things going on that affected him in that fight.
So you think that Whittaker's going to win this one and get his rematch, or
no? I just told you. I think Till's going to beat him. I think Till's moving up in class. Definitely. If Till wins, now here's the thing. If we're talking about what's going to happen, these two guys have the most upside in what's going to happen realistically.
Right.
Former champ Whittaker is not going anywhere. So 29.
If Whittaker pulls this out, you see him getting another shot at the
instantly. He's got to. He's got next on who beats Paulo Costa and Izzy. Whoever wins that will have to fight.
If Till wins, does Till get a title shot versus Izzy, you think?
Yes.
Yeah,
100%. Because Till's got that rocket on his back,
yeah,
and they want to see him up there, and they're giving him a chance because of he's a great fighter.
yeah.
So they're gonna strap a rocket on his back and put him on a title shot because of I think he puts butts in seats. I think he's going to be probably the highlight of what happens next for the UFC. He could be that major kind of Conor McGregor type star. Again, if
So,
he wins. If he loses, I don't know, man. It's going to be a difficult downward spiral for Till. So he needs
so,
to win, if you ask me.
so Darren Till, the gorilla, is the guy that Dave has his eyes on, or I should say, the Vegas Snake Eyes has their eyes on as the next up and coming Connor. I mean, I think this is going to
No,
be a fight.
no, no. Let's hold
Possible.
off on saying that. I'm just saying that I see him as one of the next big stars for them if he wins.
Absolutely.
Let's not call him Connor. There's only one Connor,
You're right.
and
There's
you don't want to get started. You don't want to get bombed
He's
with
gonna
some
be
hate
the original
bombs.
Darren Till, but I'm saying following in that footsteps of being a great champion that brings the fans in, that motivates people, that gets people excited to talk about UFC. You think he's that next great, champion?
He's a troll, man. If you go online and look at some of the things he's been talking about with Perry, Perry wants to just break his face because Perry's all about respect, as
Sure.
Tyron said, and I think he showed him that respect, and they did the sparring thing, and I
Uh-huh.
thought they were cool, but apparently not. Then he's been trolling Perry a lot online. I think with Perry having all those issues, I mean that's not even they're not even the same weight class.
Yeah.
But my point in that is that Darren Till is exciting to watch for those type of things, that element of selling the fights,
Sure.
and trash talking a little. He does a little bit of that. He's real confident, real cocky, but I don't know. That's why I like him. So,
All
I mean,
right.
that's where we have it for this card.
All right. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I think we're gonna have to come back and have a conversation just a little bit more about Darren Till because you seem
Definitely,
to think that he has some good upside. So we'll give you some more
definitely.
information about him. I want to thank you guys for tuning into our fight night final 174 breakdown, or I should say,
And I apologize. I know we were going to cover every single one of them, but we've been doing a lot of fantasy drafts, a lot of things going on with fantasy,
Sure.
baseball coming back, basketball coming back. So listen, we're not brushing UFC to the side at all. It's just that there's been a lot going on, but we'll be back and definitely for sure doing a lot more UFC coverage, guys.
All right, guys. I thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you for the next coverage of Fight Island. Have a
Yeah,
wonderful
check
night.
out Fight Island. All right, later.